So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Beausoleil. I am the Director of Business Development and Franchise Operations for our company, part of the VNFranchise consulting team based here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And I will be your host for today's exciting event. And today, we're privileged to have some very distinguished guests joining us from Bangkok, Thailand, right next door. And we have a great program for the next 30 minutes or so. Thai restaurants, the spiciest trend in Asia. And I'd like to introduce my panelists today. First, we have Mr. Trevor Mackenzie, the Managing Director and Partner of X Cuisine Global. We also have Kalaya, the Director of Marketing and Special Projects. And we have Tukta, the Operations Manager. Hi, guys.
Hello, hi. Sawadee. How are you?
Sawadee Cup. So, before we begin our main program, I'd like to briefly explain what we at VNFranchise Consulting do and let you know that as we have a full program with prepared questions already, we will not have an open Q&A session at the end, but we are happy to answer any of your questions by email or a follow-up private one-on-one call with you or your company. So we'll also be sending some information out after this webinar within this week, so please watch your email for it. Now, at VNFranchise Consulting, we are only focused on the Asia and Middle East markets. We're based here in Southeast Asia in Vietnam, but we also have partner offices in key countries around the region. And we basically cover from the Middle East through India, all the way across to Australia, New Zealand, and all the way up to Korea and Japan. And we do a lot of different things, but our two main divisions, we basically help companies who have a successful concept or brand to develop some sort of system like franchising so that they can use that channel to expand their business in their own country or throughout the region. And then our second main division is our sales and marketing team, which are very active in finding qualified investors around the region for our clients, most of which are in the food and beverage, the education, the retail, or the fitness industries. And we only accept clients that we really feel are going to be successful in Asia. And with that having said, I'd like to get right into our topic today. We're here to talk a little bit about Thai food, a lot about the Thai restaurant industry in general, and then specifically about a few Thai brands that are already expanding internationally. But to get you excited about Thai food, I'd like to share a short video with you about one of the most famous Thai restaurants in our region, Mango Tree. So with that, I'd like to turn things over to Mr. Trevor.
Thank you, Robert. So great video. Hope you got excited there. So why specifically Thai? Well, it's kind of simple, actually. Thailand has become one of the top destinations in the world over the past 20 years. Even myself, I moved here 20 years ago, and I've been in this Thai restaurant industry for that time period. So we've seen over the last 2 decades, or maybe even 25 years, a big boom in Thai restaurants opening overseas. And I think this is a result of people coming, and when they try Thai food for the first time, they fall in love with it. It's something that happens on their palate that they've never felt before. And I've had numerous people come, from friends to family, and first thing they ask is, can I get a goodie bag to go home with? Because I can't get these ingredients back home. And I'm always happy to help because this is my passion as well. So I love spreading Thai food around the world. And the more I can spread it, the more I get excited. So I think that's part of it. Number 2, I really want to comment about is chili. Chili is addicting, and it's scientifically proven to make you want to go back for more. And it's not that all Thai food has lots of chili in it, because it's not true. Some of our dishes are not as spicy. Some have different flavors, which we'll learn about later. So the opportunity here is that when I came to Thailand, I saw an opportunity, and this was to take a Thai brand around the world and bring it to different cities and work with a brand that had 64 years plus experience in opening restaurants, franchising overseas. And so I looked at that and said, hey, I can take this around the world and inspire people to own Thai at every level, from high end to now what we are in. We've got a big boom on right now where we're expanding into travel hubs as well. So the other thing about Thai food that I like to say to investors is that Thai food is still considered a niche or exotic, and therefore it requires special ingredients. And I think this allows us to charge a bit more for Thai food. People are willing to pay that little bit extra to get that truly authentic flavor, right? And what we've been able to do with our brands, obviously, is we have our systems in place and our factories so that we can send things overseas and make it very easy for any chef to do. And what I realize about the people around the world is what they want when it comes to Thai food is they want authenticity, they want consistency, and they want a good quality for their dollar. So I think with Thai food, that's where we've been able to maintain the price point. And this allows for profitable restaurants. This has been a big part of our success. It's a success of why you see other people opening Thai restaurants as well and giving me a little bit of competition. This is what we see. So our group focuses on these 3 key points, which was authenticity, consistency, and quality. It's been at the heart of our group. Our group always says we will not feed anything to our children or to our customers that we wouldn't even feed our own children. So that shows how much commitment we have to it. Next, probably I really see where Thai food gets excited when I travel around the world and I do different webinars like this or speak in front of an audience about Thai food. They can feel my passion. You know, they can feel my inspiration about this. And my inspiration goes beyond Thai food. You know, when I lived in Canada, it was about helping some of my friends open their restaurants. And I feel the same way. It's about helping investors have successful restaurants. Number 2 is to own Thai segment in their market. And third, just comes to the passion of Thai food. I want you as my partner to fall in love with Thai food at every level. So when you first come here, you're going to have the easy experience over time. You know, for some of my franchisees that have been with us for 20 years, I've taken them to the real heart of Thailand, and they tried some really, really, really authentic food. And they come out very happy and surprised. And so Thai food is like a journey. And this is what makes Thai restaurants great, is because when we expand into a new country or a new city, there's a lifespan to restaurants in general. But with Thai food, because we can go on this journey where we can start with eating pad Thai, green curry, satay, the simple things, and then later we start to move on to eating more exotic dishes, whether it's from the south or from the north in Chiang Mai. And this is what really allows us to have a great lifespan with Thai cuisine in general. And then lastly, I'd just like to comment that we're a family business too. This is where we started out. Consider working with all my partners like a family. And we look at every restaurant really as if it's our own. There's not a restaurant or an opportunity that I don't look at and say to investors or my partners, would I put my own money into that restaurant? And I look at that every time. And I've invested in restaurants too. I've won, I've lost. So I've been down the road myself personally to know when to make the right decision and when not to. And sometimes, okay, maybe franchisees don't agree with it. A lot of times they do, and really thank for the experience that I share with them to give them that type of warning. But the key is we just generally care about their business in general. It's just as important for us, for them to succeed as it is for them to succeed themselves. And I get great pride in that, and lots of franchisees complimenting the care factor of that. Even yesterday I had a big call, Zoom call, and they were so thankful for the call. Thanks for following up and helping us out and getting through this little roadblock that we were going through. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Robert.
No, thanks a lot, Trevor. That was a lot of information and I think very helpful for all of us. I share your passion for Thai food. It's still my favorite food in the whole entire world. So hopefully we can share that and bring up some of that enthusiasm to some of our listeners today. So maybe we can talk about some of the things you said a little bit. You know, I agree, Thailand has been famous for its food for decades now. But what characteristics really make it so popular?
I can take that, Robert. Being a Thai myself, I honestly believe that we all love food, and I believe dining is an experience. So it's everything. It's a combination of everything. Thailand being a famous tourist destination itself for years, the world's traveler are very familiar with us and with our food as well. So the abundance of ingredients that we have, the very delicate taste of our menus, together with Thai hospitality, the fun vibe of the people here, of our culture, that all contributes to form a Thai food characteristics.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, one of those characteristics that everyone always wants to talk about, and in fact, we named this webinar, you know, spicing up the food industry across Asia. So there's this general view that Thai food is very spicy. You know, is that really true?
Absolutely not, I guess, because the complexity of the 5 flavors in Thai food has made of outstanding from other cuisines, and spicy is one of them. The rest are like sweet, salty, tangy, and umami taste, which is like shrimp paste. And then each dish have all 5 flavors hiding in it, but but 1 or 2 flavors will be leading the taste. For example, like pad Thai sweet and a little sour, tom yum is tangy, and then sometimes have like the 2 flavors in it, like sour and then aftertaste with the sweetness. So it's refreshing. So all these kind of things that have been successful for Thai cuisine because we have complexity of the flavors all in there.
Yeah, thank you. So 5 different flavors, and spicy is only one of them.
Yes.
So, you know, those people who think everything's spicy, that's not true. Okay, so, you know, when Asians, because our listeners are all from around Asia, and when they go out to eat, I often find that Asians will choose food from around the region first. And, you know, how would you guys rank Thai food compared to the other Asian cuisines like Japanese or Korean or Vietnamese? What do you think?
We're often ranked as one of the top 5 or top 10 cuisines in the world itself, but compared to other Asian cuisines, I completely believe Thai food is one of the top 3. For me personally, it's number 1, of course. Lots of the dishes are considered very healthy, and the fact that we have a wide range of the taste profile and actually a fair price point. So it makes Thai cuisine very approachable and more of a everyday food. So, and also CNN Traveler, I've just read about that. They made a vote for the readers to vote earlier this year, and for the 50 best 50 best dishes in the world, and massaman curry is ranked #1, and we have a couple of Thai dishes in that as well. So that's definitely proof that Thai food is really popular.
Yeah, I think it's definitely in Vietnam here, definitely one of the top choices when Vietnamese go out for something other than Vietnamese food. And I think that's true across our region. So it would also be #1 for me too, Kalaya. So, as I said, we have listeners from all across Asia. And one of the things that we see in Asia is sometimes they have different requirements. So we've got countries that need halal or no pork. We have countries like India that need a lot of vegetarian dishes. We have places that, really have strong preferences for seafoods. Does this pose a problem for Thai food or Thai restaurants entering these different countries?
I think it's not at all, because Thai food is very diverse and has more varieties, with like 4 regions of Thai cuisine, which is different. But most of the dishes that people see in the market around the world is like from central part, but we do cater from like north of Thailand, northeastern Thailand, and then southern Thailand. And then also we have the abundance of ingredients that can cater for all preferences, like southern food, and we have lots of seafood and halal and vegetarian, which is we do have like a vegetarian festival for 10 days. And then we have lots of Muslim people, like Muslim people in Thailand. So we do have lots of varieties of food that like Thai food, Thai dish, because like have all the influence from each region. So it's make it different, and there's no problem at all.
Oh, good. Well, that's good to hear. So, it's very important that we can cater to these specific food requirements, in different countries. And it is true. I mean, if you think about a green or a yellow curry, you can do it vegetarian, you can do it seafood, you can do it chicken or pork, beef. So Thai food is one of its biggest advantages, I think, is how flexible that it is. But, speaking of Thai restaurants, though, that have gone international, what's really required to be successful in that international market? Because to be honest, we don't actually see that many Thai concepts. We see some mom and pop, some single restaurant units around the region, but not that many brands. Why do you guys think that is?
Well, let me jump in here. I think good advice on this is I've been in the region for 20 years, and I fell in love with the idea. I saw that Thai restaurants weren't everywhere, and yet I knew it was coming. And I think local Thai food is very much cooked by instinct, and so does our hospitality and how our restaurants are operated. I mean, when you come to Thailand, there's a certain feeling, and everyone calls it the Thai hospitality, and it's their warm smile. And I even feel it when I get off the plane. But I think the main reason why we don't see as many overseas is that when it comes to management and consistency, it can be challenging overseas. So you really have to have these systematic practices in place, not our instinct and not going by it by a whim. What do we feel today? What are our ingredients today? And with that, that's how local brands can boom in an international environment. It's also why we decided to take out some other Thai brands too, to help them systemize and understand what is expected internationally. While Thailand is friendly to do business, it does business in a much different way than overseas. Overseas is much more black and white, and you need that in a system. And so, that's part of why I came to Asia, was I knew systems, I knew restaurant systems. I was trained that way in Canada. And I knew there was an opportunity there, that if we systemize Thai cuisine, that we could be successful in going overseas. And it's probably why you don't see a lot of other brands doing that. Systemization is not for everyone. Yeah,
and it's not easy. So anybody in the restaurant industry knows that it's not easy. I'd like to say thank you to all three of you. I think this information really helped our listeners kind of understand the food better, answer some common questions about Thai restaurants in general. Now, one thing I'd like to tell everybody who's listening, there's a reason other than just being Thai or living in Thailand for 20 years, there's a reason that these three people on our call today are professionals in the Thai restaurant industry, is because they actually represent 4 Thai brands, 1 new one, and 3 that have been around for a very long time, 164 years already, that have been international also for quite some time. So I have some questions for potential investors for you guys about your various brands, but maybe you guys could introduce very briefly the 4 brands for us and a little bit more about your company, at least at a very high level, and then we can ask some questions. So again, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, sure. I have some slide up here. I hope it shows up now. Okay, so I can walk you through what X-Cuisine Global and our brands are all about. We've been around for 64 years, and we're very proud of our history as well. We started off with a 20-seat restaurant serving Cantonese food in a small alley in Bangkok in 1957. And in 1988, we expanded overseas with the first outlet in Singapore, and we have a COCA restaurant there. And over the years and across the 3 generations, we're actually one of the first brands that expand in such a scale that we are. So we've been recognized and we've been trusted by diners around the world, and also with the Thai government as well. In 2015, we were actually selected. We're the only Thai restaurant brand to be selected to represent Thai cuisine at the World Expo in Milan. So that's a big milestone for us. And again, Trevor talked about this. In 2019, we received our first Michelin plate award in one of our outlets in China. And currently we have over 60 restaurants in 14 countries, and we're still growing. And despite the COVID situation, we were opening restaurants last year, and we're opening restaurants this year as well. Now let's take a look at our brands that we have. So these are the 3 original brands that we have under our umbrella. So we have COCA Restaurant, which we offer hot pot and Cantonese cuisine. And we have Mango Tree and Mango Chili, which are offering Thai food. So let's first take a look at COCA Restaurant first. As you can see, we put our brands in different tiers, so it can target specific markets. So for COCA Restaurant, the first tier would be COCA Heritage. It offers premium hot pot and original Cantonese cuisine in a classic setting. So when you step your foot in a COCA Heritage, you can feel it with the atmosphere, the decorations, the food, the hospitality right there. It takes you back to the original Cantonese COCA cuisine there. The second tier, which is called COCA Restaurant, is the restaurant that you would see most across the world that we have our outlets in. It offers signature hot pot and Chinese Thai specialties in a modern vibe. It's very approachable, very friendly. It's where people go and hang out and have a great time together. And the third tier is COCA Pop-Up. This actually brought you back to the first restaurant that we have, the 20-seat restaurant that we have in the small alley of Bangkok. It offers an intimate boutique cafe with warm and casual street side vibe. And we just recently launched this brand, and we currently have 2 outlets in Bangkok, in Thailand at the moment. Let's take a look at the look and feel of COCA Restaurant here. So of course, hot pot is our signature menu, and we have a special Thai broth as well, which is Tom Yum broth, which is very popular. We also offer Thai and Cantonese dishes, and in some of our outlets, we have our dim sum as well. Now let's talk about Mango Tree. Mango Tree offers Thai food, and we put them in 3 different tiers as well. The first tier would be the high-end premium tier. We call it Mango Tree Flagship Restaurant. It's a casual lifestyle fine dining for us. The second tier, we have 2 brands for the second tier. We have Mango Tree Bangkok Eatery and Mango Tree Cafe. It's very approachable. And the third tier is more of specialty cuisine. We have Mango Tree Kitchen and Mango Tree Grab and Go. Now let's delve in a little bit of each brand itself. So this is a look and feel of Mango Tree. It's casual lifestyle fine dining. It explores the culinary journey of the 4 regions of Thailand. You can see the way it decorates, and it gives you an authentic yet very refreshed contemporary taste of Thai menus. Now we are our first brand for the second tier, Mango Tree Bangkok Eatery. This is actually inspired by Bangkok lifestyle. So you can see the fun and vibrant decorations within the restaurant itself. And it is a hangout space, and it offers creative drinks, local, international, and Thai twist within the restaurant. So think about a place where you want to unwind after a long day at work, or where you want to spend great time with your family here. We have Mango Tree Cafe as well. This brand is developed under the concept that Thailand is a popular holiday destination. So when you think of Thailand, you think of a holiday, you think of your vacation, you think of great time here in Bangkok. So you can see the natural elements in that keeps you relaxed when you dine with us. So it's a trendy, casual, family-friendly Thai dining with Thai favorite menu. And this is the brand under the third tier for us, Mango Tree Kitchen. It's a fast dining serving concept on Thai specialty menu. We have you can see from the left-hand side, that's Mango Tree Kitchen Pad Thai. We have Pad Thai, we have Grapao, which is Thai basil, and we have Khao Man Gai, which is Hainanese chicken. So these are very popular street food for us. You can see there's limited seating, and most of we have a lot of takeaways for this fast food concept for us. And the last under the Mango Tree brand is Mango Tree Grab and Go. This is developed specifically for transportation hubs. It's just where people can just grab something before they go on their journey. So we offer refreshments, snacks, desserts, and Thai menus on the go. Now, Mango Chili is an entirely different brand than Mango Tree. Mango Chili is actually inspired by the street food of Thailand. You can see some elements of the fun and vibrant streets of Thailand in the way that the restaurant is decorated. It's a quick service restaurant serving easy and simple Thai food, just the way you would find it on the streets. And you've heard Trevor mention earlier already that we are actually working with our local partners here in Thailand, where they want to expand overseas. And we're very excited to have Yeli Yours on board. Yeli Yours is actually currently the #1 mango dessert cafe in Thailand. It is developed from the passion of the mango farmers, and they work extensively with farmers across Thailand to be able to provide the mango throughout the year. So we're very excited to have them on board. And that's all the brands that we have, Robert.
Well, thank you very much. That was a great and very brief. So thank you for keeping the introduction brief as well. I'm hungry now. Can we finish this so I can go have some Thai food for lunch? Okay. Thank you very much for that overview. And as I mentioned before, I do have some questions for your team, stuff that various investors have sent us in advance. You guys have all these different brands and across many countries throughout Asia. How do these Thai brands do in the Asian market, and why do you think that they're so successful?
Well, let me take that one, Robert. I think it goes back to a simple, age-old philosophy. We make everyone feel part of the family. And I mentioned earlier in my introduction that we look at every restaurant as if it was one of ours personally. And I really think that makes our franchisees feel supported and get through the tough times. We've been awarded Michelin Star, FAB Awards, the best Thai restaurants in specific countries and cities that we open up. So obviously that helps us gain our recognition as well and keeps our restaurants successful. I mentioned before the lifespan of Thai restaurants as well being an attributing factor, because it's something that I really talk about to our investors as well. And it also really helps that we're profitable. Most restaurants I see around the region, I've been in the business for almost 30 years now, but a lot of people are only achieving 15% EBITDA. this is why I actually moved from Canada, because that was what was happening in Canada. And I said, how are we going to make any money being a restaurateur here? And what I see with our restaurants is that, at the lowest end of the spectrum, we're at 19%, and at the higher end, we're at 25, 26% EBITDA. So this really adds to the profitability. And therefore, it keeps franchisees interested. It keeps them wanting to expand. It keeps landlords asking us for locations. I mean, our brands, we don't have to, after we open our first outlet, we don't really have to go seek locations. The landlords are coming to us because they see how busy our restaurants are. And even now, looking at the Yenli Yours project that we're starting off already, we're starting to see that's got the same type of EBITDA in it, actually closer to 22 to 25% EBITDA. And the Yenli Yours concept, because it's considerably smaller and lower investment than a full restaurant or a quick serve cafe, is we're able to get an ROI within 1 year. So this has always been important. With those type of numbers, we're able to provide people with any of our restaurants reasonable and quick ROIs on their investment.
Wow, that is fast. So, and very attractive numbers, especially in the F&B industry. So, but of course, there are other Thai brands out there. So there are other ones available across the region. Why do the X Cuisine global brands stand out, among the competition?
Okay. Well, we have one of the clearest and most clarified tiers of each brand. So it's very targeted to different markets. And we're also a big believer in investing in our people as well. So we also creating this ongoing education journey for our team and for our people. For example, we have this chef trip where we brought all of the chefs here to Thailand and actually breathing Thai food, working with the locals, cook like the locals, go find your own local ingredients. So they actually learn Thai cuisine from the root. It's very, very important that they understand Thai food in order for them to cook Thai food to our guests. And we also do not compromise on the real Thai taste. And we make sure that we have all the ingredients we need, or we will just take it out of the menu. We normally have our corporate training chef conduct an on-site training, so he knows exactly what is available locally, and work with the local partners and local suppliers just to make sure that we have high quality ingredients, or at least we find something and we get close to at least 90% of those that are available in Thailand.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, that authentic idea and dedication is important, and I think you guys have that across all of your brands. Another question that we get asked all the time is, what kind of startup support do you guys give to a new franchisee? Because we know launching, a new concept, a new brand new restaurant isn't easy. So how do you guys support your franchisees at the beginning?
Okay, that one, for the support that we provided to our franchisees in 3 stages, for the pre-opening period, and then during the opening period, during the construction, get the restaurant ready, and then post-opening period, which is the support from the marketing team and all those training or have to do something like that. So actually for the pre-opening, so we make sure you got to the right location, not the wrong location. We will help you with that, and then with the right people, right money, and then with the recruitment that we do help you to do the hiring process, or we can help you to hire people from Thailand, the chef from Thailand, or if you want us to help you to screen out your staff. So that would be the help. And then also we do work with you on the project, on the layout, how to get you ready to go to the next stage on the during the opening process, to make sure that you get to we got you the crockery, the plateware, the glassware, everything, the tables, the atmosphere design. We work with you on that, but still have our brand, the brand's name on it. And then after you open, and then we also have the training for the chef for the front of the house, the back of the house, that we will train your staff to make sure your staff is ready to go for the whole area of the chef, the kitchen, the services, the bar, even the restaurant manager, because we require that you come and train with us in Bangkok. And we also go to train on site with you guys and work with you guys on site in your location. And then after you open the restaurant, we do have the support on the audit to make sure to ensure the standard. We have the system that to make sure that your food is consistency, which is one of the most like important factor for a franchise, because your food has to be consistency and we have the system for it. And many more as for like on the marketing side, on the operation side, we have ongoing support for them.
Good.
Can I just add to that, Robert? I'd just
Sure,
like to add,
please.
because I think in the West, we focus a lot on training. And I brought that philosophy as well to Asia with me. And I put together a team that is committed to doing the training. Tukta is very committed to making sure that the training happens, and that, you know, a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't need to do the training. And the training and education has really been a key to our success, so that people really understand the brands from every level to the top level. So we're not just educating our franchisees, we're educating their staff along the way, so that, you know, when we open a restaurant, everybody comes together. You know, they all feel it, they all understand it, they feel the pride of what we're doing. And this, I think, is really what helps all our franchisees be successful.
Yeah, I agree. So that's important. You know, Trevor, I think that you guys are looking for territory developers as we're talking about new franchisees. So this can be either an area developer or a master franchise agreement, and correct me if I'm wrong, but why can't someone just open, you know, one restaurant?
I have a simple philosophy. It's just as much work to open one restaurant as it is an empire of restaurants. I think simple to me, one restaurant only allows a certain amount of financial return. When I first came to Asia and started franchising, you know, I'd look at the ROI and I would say, you know, is this going to provide this franchisee with enough salary to live for the year? And in some cases it doesn't. So I always started from the belief of, you know, if we're going to go to your city and we're going to open Thai restaurants, why just open one? Let's open more than one. And actually, it also came about organically too. Mango Tree flagships were so popular that, you know, our franchisees were saying, what else can we do with this revenue? And to avoid them from going to other brands, you know, that's how we came up with the tiers, so that they could own Thai food in their city. You know, like our Japanese franchisee owns Thai food in Tokyo. Our Manila franchisee is owning Thai in Manila. And this is what our philosophy is. And also to that, you know, once you put a certain amount of infrastructure in place, you want to capitalize and utilize that infrastructure. Say, we all know restaurants need marketing. Well, the reality is having a marketing team for one restaurant hardly pays for itself. So you need to have more restaurants so that you can capitalize on the brand and the brand power. And so it's just been an organic thing that came together, and it's what I believe. So we always do territory developments. We kind of base that on a city or a region, depending on your country. And there's just opportunities there. You know, investors will see, the landlords will come. The landlords will come and say, I want your brand in my mall, or I want your location here. You know, it's just, it happens that way.
And, you know, speaking of those area developments, so if somebody takes the Mango Tree brand, they're going to get exclusive rights to all of the tiers of Mango Tree, correct?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
And
That's how we design it. We design it so they build their little restaurant empire and can touch, you know, downtown with a flagship, go into some shopping malls with the cafes, go into the travel hubs with the kitchens, go into the outskirts with the eateries. You know, we designed it so that you can capitalize in your territory.
So that makes it easy to scale, like you said, and become more profitable for the franchisee in their local territory. It also, of course, is going to help build up that brand recognition in that local market. Yeah. So, you know, we're looking at what they want and how you guys provide for franchisees' needs, but what are you guys looking for? So what would you say the top, 3 to 5 criteria for a franchisee considering one of your brands?
So my philosophy is quite simple. Franchising is like a marriage. So I'm offering my brand to someone else, and we're going to be married together for 20 years. So the number one thing that I feel people need to have is they need to have the passion. There's nothing, we've always said in the food business, you can tell by the way someone walks if they have the right passion for this industry. I think from your past working in restaurants when you're in your teens as well. There's a certain thing that you can tell the people that are passionate about the industry. Second, I would say is that shared vision. If we have that shared vision and we're going to have this marriage for 20 years, we need to really have a shared vision for how we can take Thai food in your country. And then third comes down to financial. So I never make financial my number one thing, because I always believe that the money will be there anyway. When people are passionate and people believe in something, in a vision, the money will appear. So while it's important to have the financial as well, obviously to open the first 1, 2, or 3 restaurants, it's not our number one criteria. Those other ones are the ones that really make the glue work and give us that longevity to our brand.
Yeah, good. That makes sense. So those are very reasonable criteria. And I like everybody's smile when we talk about the marriage. So I'm going to ask Kalaya later why she's big grin. So one important question in the presentation, Trevor, I saw you on the tuk-tuk. Are you going to deliver the food when we open new restaurants or what?
Well, it's interesting to have a Western face representing Thai food, but it's been fun and it's been a fun journey. So one day maybe that'll be my promo stunt, like Richard Branson, to get out there on my tuk-tuk.
Oh, there you go. It'll be your retirement job, part-time retirement job.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you guys. We have listeners on this call from all across Asia. So I know we can't be very specific, but, kind of at a high level, what do your fees look like? I mean, this is something, finance is of course important. And with a, franchise, you've got franchise fees or territory fees, royalties, these different things. What can you tell us, at least at this stage?
So we try to keep it quite simple. The reality is that if someone wants a master franchise or area development, we want to make it accessible for them. And we don't want to strip the capital that should be going to build the restaurant out of it. So we customize all of our area development fees to each individual investor. So it really comes down to your territory. What is our vision together? How many outlets can we open in your territory? And then that's where we come up with our initial fees. The ongoing fees are quite standard. Like most franchises, we have a 5% royalty and a 1% advertising marketing fee, which, works quite well. People try to always buck that one. But I think what we've done over the years is we've really kicked back a lot of that money towards our franchisees, doing PR events, hosting events, getting media in, whether it's me going on the radio or the TV to speak about the brands and really help them be the extra ambassador in case they're a bit shy to be in front of the camera. And what we've also done over the last, I would say 5 or 6 years, we've also made let's call it a reward system. So we say if you can achieve a certain amount of outlets or a certain amount of sales targets, depending on your country, we will look at reducing royalty fees based on that. It's our way of saying, hey, you committed to what you had promised, you fulfilled it, you're doing well. And so it's like a nice reward to the franchisees when they feel, I finally gotten to this new royalty reduction. And I feel that creates a win-win for everyone. They feel like they get a win, on some reduction. We're winning because we're getting more outlets out there and we found a good partner that's staying with us. And so we want to make a win-win as long as we can.
Yeah. I mean, that's what franchising is about, right? It's that win-win relationship, that marriage, if you will, where a franchisee is bringing that local knowledge and you guys are bringing that industry knowledge and the brand knowledge. the food knowledge, obviously. And I think your team is very capable of providing great support, especially across Asia. And I think hopefully we'll help you guys expand into a few new countries or cities with some of our listeners on this webinar. So
that'd be great.
Any final thoughts from anybody that you guys would like to share on behalf of your team or your brands?
Well, I think if you're passionate about doing Thai cuisine, you see the opportunity in your market or your city, please don't hesitate to call us. We're only a call or an email away. We're very approachable. We're very want to listen to you first. We're not all about just pushing our brands onto people. Because it is that marriage, we want to make sure it's going to work, and we want to make sure your territory is going to work. So we're never just trying to get after the sales. So we'll be completely honest with you. I mean, I've had some countries where I just said, hey, sorry, your country's not ready yet for this type of product. So we're very open and honest that way. And we deliver what we promise.
Yeah, that sounds good. So guys, on behalf of the VNFranchise consulting team, on behalf of all of our listeners, we would like to thank Trevor, Kalaya, and Tukta for joining us today, for sharing some food and some industry knowledge, as well as about their Mango Tree, COCA, Mango Chili, and Yenli Yours brands. Due to the fact that we're talking to people across 20 or 30 different countries, we were not able to get very specific about the fees or how many restaurants you'd have to open. But please, for specific market questions, as Trevor mentioned, reach out to us. Ask your questions. We're happy to schedule a one-on-one call with you to really talk about the specific details. Any questions, we will get you answers. And as I mentioned before, we will follow up with everybody who registered for our webinar afterwards with a link to a recording of this presentation, as well as some additional information about the brands that are available. And for any of you who want to proceed to the next step, we will collect some information, NDA, and put you in touch on a private call with Trevor and his team for some more in-depth, discussions. So again, thank you all. Thank you for attending. Kap kun kap.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Robert.
Have a great afternoon.
Take care.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Go get some Thai food.